10 amazing reasons why the Egypt pyramids terrify scientists. The pyramids are some of history's most iconic structures, but so much about them is clouded in mystery and unexplainable origins. Here are 10 amazing reasons why the Egypt pyramids terrify scientists. Number 10. Each brick weighs from 2 to 50 tons. Imagine the transportation cost of carrying 2 to 50 tons of any item today. It would probably be an insane amount no matter what you're carrying, despite all the technological advancements that we've made today that make doing something like this much easier than ever before. Now, go back 5,000 years, and they were carrying 2.5 million of these blocks that weighed up to 50 tons, all within a 12-year time frame. And that's for the Great Pyramid alone. While 12 years is admittedly a long time for a construction project today, for the time these pyramids were built, it's downright miraculous and highly confusing to scientists how the ancient Egyptians were able to build something like this without any support from modern technology at all. Maybe we haven't advanced so much as a civilization after all. Number 9. The pyramids aren't even close to how they originally looked. This fact makes scientists, historians, and archaeologists sadder than it makes them scared. And that's because much of the pyramid's original exterior has been lost to time because of natural deterioration, disasters, or looting. While the original structure, which is arguably the most important part, continues to withstand the test of time, the same can't be said for the incredible detail that was on these structures that were the finishing touches to this monument for the pharaohs. The pyramids were made of massive limestone blocks that we see today. But covering all of that up was a coating of a somewhat rarer white limestone. The white limestone was considered to be the main attraction for the pyramids when they were built, as it would shine like a diamond in the desert whenever the sun would reflect on them. There aren't any plans of restoring the white limestone, which means we may never be able to see the pyramids how they were meant to be seen. Number 8. They were able to survive without scientific technology. We've already mentioned how amazing it is that these pyramids were built such a long time ago, on a scale that wouldn't be seen for thousands of years after they'd already been built. And we've also mentioned how the original structure withstood the test of time. But that's not just some passing comment. It's absolutely ridiculous how these pyramids are still standing today. Out of all of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Pyramids of Giza are the only structures on the list that continue to stand, despite the fact that they're older than each of the other 6 wonders. Even other pyramids found around the world have failed to bear the scrutiny of time, and are all usually partially damaged or simply too small to be compared to the Egyptian ones. The question of how these pyramids were protected is something that confuses scientists to this day. Number 7. The Pyramid of Khafre is not the tallest. This is one fact that wasn't even well known until just a few hundred years ago. If you've seen any pictures of all the pyramids together, you'll be able to see that Khafre, the pyramid in the center that seems bigger and taller than the rest, towers above them all. While it does tower above them, it's actually because it's constructed on higher ground than the rest of them. In reality, the Pyramid of Khafre is about 136 meters tall and was originally around 143 meters tall. The Pyramid of Khufu alongside it is actually taller from the ground up at 1,385 meters tall, and that pyramid was originally about 146 meters tall. The Khafre Pyramid still remains the pyramid that's in the best condition, with part of the white limestone still visible on it. Number 6. The granite coffer inside the pyramid. We've learned a lot of things from science and historians about the Great Pyramids, but this is certainly not one of them. There is a granite coffer located inside one of the pyramids, and while that isn't really a remarkable discovery considering how grand the pyramids themselves are, there is the one really special thing about that granite coffer. It's too big. The granite coffer is simply too big to fit inside the room it's in. There's no possible way it would have gotten in there without damaging the entry or coffer itself, unless the room was actually built around this. Scientists have tried to look for answers, but have always come back empty-handed. Number 5. The various theories about their origin. You've probably heard some of these theories before, but because the Egyptian pyramids have a history that's clouded by mystery and uncertainty, many people have made their own theories about their origins and how they came into being. Since the pyramids were made at a time where it would have normally been impossible to build something of this scale, some people believe that there might have been extraterrestrial help in their construction and that the pyramids might be a base for extraterrestrial landings in the future, or may have been one in the past. Of course, scientists won't ever rule out everything, even if it's something as unlikely as this. We may never truly know the story behind these magnificent structures. Number 4. The temperature inside the pyramids. Air conditioning is truly a luxury that we all take for granted in the 21st century, but in ancient Egypt, they didn't have such luxuries. Despite not having any access to electricity or machines that could cool air, the Great Pyramids of Giza are all about 20 degrees Celsius on the inside, with the temperature never exceeding that point. Considering the temperature in the desert can get upwards of 50 degrees Celsius, that's a remarkable feat in and of itself that ancient Egyptian engineers were smart enough to construct something that self-regulates the temperature. Number 3. It was built without slaves. One common misconception about the pyramids is that they were probably built by chained slaves who were forced to carry heavy blocks of limestone on their backs somehow. But that theory, which was usually peddled by ancient Greek historians who tried to make sense of the pyramids' construction, has been proven to be false. In more recent times, workers' living quarters have shown that they lived quite luxurious lives. They were usually hand-picked among the best workers in the empire, and there were even nearby cities and settlements where they grew their own food and lived with their families if they had one. Working conditions weren't nearly that bad either. Ancient Egyptians were recently uncovered to have access to post holes, ramps, and stairs that would allow them to transport these large blocks, although with a lot of workers. Number 2. They're not the only pyramids in the region. The Great Pyramids of Giza are one of the most well-known pieces of architecture in the history of mankind. Few other buildings, even megastructures that were built thousands of years after these, failed to live up to the grandeur and spectacularity of these few structures. However, while they may be monumental, they're far from the only pyramids in the region. Numerous other pyramid complexes exist both within and outside the borders of Egypt. In fact, the country with the most pyramids in the world isn't even Egypt. Bordering Sudan, which was once the center of the Nubian civilization that was closely linked to Egypt, is home to more pyramids than anywhere else on Earth, over 220. This really makes you and scientists wonder how many pyramids still exist in the region that we simply have yet to uncover. Number 1. It was the tallest building on Earth for thousands of years. And finally, something that doesn't actually confuse scientists as much as it fascinates them is that nothing of the Great Pyramid scale would be built for thousands of years. The Great Pyramid of Giza, or the Khufu Pyramid, was built around 2500 BC, and it was only around 1300 AD, almost 3,000 years later, when the Tower of the Lincoln's Cathedral in England would finally surpass that height. In terms of skyscrapers, it wasn't even until the 20th century that we were finally able to make one that surpassed its height with the Singer Building in Manhattan. Those were the 10 amazing reasons why the Egypt pyramids terrify scientists.